Welcome back to the Chicago Bulls franchise, everybody. Today, we will be fully unleashing a rookie that I am very excited about. It's the first career start for the 6'8 guard out of Slovenia, number 00, Andrej Lorbeck. The rookie was quiet in his first 4 games, but he has begun to find his groove. He's coming off a 19-point night in a loss to Sacramento where he made 2 threes, and that came after a 12 assist, 1 turnover game. Lorbeck's game is a lot less complete than that of Luka Doncic, the 2-time MVP he's constantly compared to, but when you watch the kid play, you see flashes of the passing wizardry and crafty finishing that Doncic has mastered. Young players thrive the most when they are trusted, and hopefully, the decision to start Lorbeck early in offense has that effect. He replaces Jaden McDaniels in the starting 5 with the hopes that he will provide some offensive juice to a team that has struggled on that end in a 3-7 start. He fits in as the starting 2 guard, moving Brandon Ingram to the 3. Obviously, Lorbeck is more of a true point guard, but Cole Anthony has been too good to bench. I think a backcourt of Cole and Andrej works well enough. That gives us 3 skilled ball handlers and playmakers in the starting 5, which should open up our offense a bit more, in theory. Unfortunately, we have another rookie that has been trending in the opposite direction. Mace Gadzuric has had a nightmare start to the season. He's been bad at the things he's supposed to be good at, and even worse than expected in his weak spots. So I'm moving into the G League Windy City Bulls for the time being. This is not me giving up on him in any way, shape, or form, but he's just been too much of a net negative for me to keep playing him at the highest level, and I'd rather have him get reps and find his rhythm in the G League than ride the pine in the NBA. He's a really intriguing talent, but he might take more time than Lorbeck, and that's okay. I expect to call him up fairly soon to give him another shot. But filling Gadzuric's roster spot temporarily will be Iket Lucas, who has been playing in the G League up to this point. We may see him make a debut in garbage time, however, Al Horford will continue as our second string center for the time being. Also, since I showed you guys the team training schedule last episode, I wanted to highlight the equally important individual training plans. Normally I like to have the training type align with the player type as well as possible, but notice I have Andrej Lorbeck being trained as an outside shooter. I want that aspect of his game to develop as quickly as possible, and I'm curious to see how well this works. He doesn't need to work on finishing or passing, those skills are already at a near elite level. Instead, I'm focusing his training on his weaknesses. Right now his 3-point shot is at 65 and his mid-range is 60. If I don't see those numbers increase by at least 3 points by the end of the season, I might just give up and conclude that training just doesn't work in 2K. If you guys have any more suggestions on how I should handle training, please let me know in the comments. The other important training tool 2K gives you is the Mentorship tool. And truth be told, I brought in Al Horford almost exclusively to use this tool. He's the perfect mentor for a fellow stretch 5 in Mace Gadzuric, and I'm currently having them work on 3 shooting badges, even though Gadzuric is currently across the city with the G League squad. I'm assuming the progression will happen regardless. As a side note, I want to argue to 2K that this feature should be way more powerful. It's a cool concept, but it barely does anything. The only way to get it to work is to have a super old player who still has badges. As you can see, we have that with Al Horford, but there's only a select few guys in the league who fit this category. Most guys either lose their badges as they age and regress, or they at least drop in tiers. Even Horford's badges have weakened to mostly bronzes, making the mentorship effect less pronounced. So the only truly effective mentors are cyborgs like LeBron and KD that still have gold and Hall of Fame badges in their late 30s. And that's not to say badge regression shouldn't happen. I think this just proves that the badge system isn't the best vehicle to implement a mentorship function. Signing veterans like Al Horford, Andre Iguodala, Udonis Haslem, James Johnson, Ricky Rubio, that should always be beneficial to development, regardless of badge count. That's why I think mentorship should affect ratings, not badges, or at least both of them. And it shouldn't matter if the mentor is worse than the mentee. Bam Adebayo was already better than Udonis when he entered the league, but he still learned from the OG. Plus, mentors shouldn't have to be 39 billion years old in order to make any sort of impact. In my opinion, a 10-year veteran Brandon Ingram should be able to help Andrej Lorbeck work on his shooting. But look at that projection. All because he's not old enough and because I guess they're different positions even though they're both 6'8 lanky ball handlers. For the record, I still have this mentorship in place, even though it's doing absolute jack right now. Maybe it'll lead to something down the road. But anyway, there are a lot of issues with my league, and this isn't necessarily the biggest one, but it's still something I'd like to see reworked down the line. I mean, Madden franchise has preseason scenarios where an older player takes on a younger player under their wing, and then gives that player an attribute boost. That's a great system in my opinion. I'd like to see that here in 2K. But enough with my rant, let's play some ball. The Sixers enter year 2 of the Zach LaVine experience after we traded him away for 2 first-round picks. This year's version of the Embiid-led 76ers might be the best yet. The guard rotation of LaVine, Tyrese Maxey, and Stephon Castle is athletic as any, and they've also brought in the lights-out shooting Corey Kispert in free agency. So Chicago's lead guard of the past will line up across from our lead guard of the future as we are underway in United. Sixers take it first. LaVine comes out firing, short on the 3. Anthony the other way. Wraparound pass to Klingon, and that bucket doesn't count. Maxey tried to take a charge, called for the block, but it was before the shooting motion, as Brandon Ingram is now called for a travel. A look at the power rankings, 76ers have dropped. After a red-hot start, they've had some bad losses, including to the Vancouver Woodsmen. They're down to number 9. We are up to 28. Believe it or not, that's an improvement. Cole Anthony, right side, behind the back, drives, baseline, and 1. That one counts, no question. And that's the second foul already on Tyrese Maxey. He will take a seat early as Klingon extends for the rejection. Slow-mo Kyle Anderson, a little too slow there. Now Klingon lays it in, and we're up 5-zip. LaVine shakes his man free, misses another triple. Now Andrej Lorbeck has the ball. Zips it to the corner for Ingram. No assist there. LaVine chucks another 3 up. That one goes. For any of you real Bulls fans watching, I'm curious to know whether you guys would boo or cheer Zach LaVine if he was on a different team, playing his first game back in Chicago. Here's Klingon. Short on the layup, contested by Joel Embiid. Andrej Lorbeck forces a miss from Corey Kispert, gets out in transition, and gets the bucket and the foul. Corey Kispert was inside the restricted area, leads to 3 easy points. Kispert answers with a 3, now LaVine inside to Stephon Castle off the bench. Williams 3 rattles out. Offensive rebound, Ingram gets it to go from the top of the key. Ingram with it again, guarded by Kispert, gets around him. Now finds Williams in the corner for a triple. Embiid from the free throw line, backing down Klingon, missing it, getting it back, out to LaVine, bullseye from the corner. And we've been struggling to defend a three-pointer. We're going to have our hands full today. The Sixers are the best three-point shooting team in the league thus far. Andrej Lorbeck lost the ball. Stephon Castle, a great defender for his age, scores on the other end. Lorbeck guarded by Castle again. Pick and roll. Donovan Klingon dunks it over Andre Drummond. He's still a member of the Sixers. As LaVine steps out for another 3, he continues to let it fly. Lorbeck, pick and pop, Williams. Yes, sir. Second 3 for P. Will. Zach inside to Andre Drummond, lost the ball. Lorbeck saves it and one-hands it all the way down the court to Ingram. And Ingram throws it away. Here's Ingram again. Williams thought about the 3, now backing down Castle. I've been wanting to see an improvement in his inside game, and he scores there. 23-18. Shot clock winding down for Anderson. He pops a 3 in Ingram's face. That's the goofiest contested 3 shot release I've ever seen, and somehow Ingram didn't block it. Dalen Terry hits a 3, and Zach LaVine misses again. Terry the rebound, taking it down the lane, Ingram, fancy move for 2. If you haven't noticed, once I discovered how to do a Euro step in 2K, I just started spamming it. It's unstoppable. LaVine with another 3, that one misses though. Trying again, that one misses too. That's his 11th three-point attempt of the quarter. White hits Terry. Backdoor cut for a slam. 30-26. Jaden McDaniels contorts and gets it to go off the glass. Drummond with an easy lay. Horford completely lost him there as the clock winds down on the quarter. Terry no good. Levine, good if it goes, and it's no good. That is 12 first quarter three-point attempts for Zach LaVine. Bro thinks he's Jack Golke right now as Ingram with nice moves and a layup high off the glass. TJ Warren is a Sixer and he hits the open midi. Embiid overpowering his former teammate Al Horford. Anthony gets a steal. Ahead to McDaniels, decked. Crumbles to the ground but makes both free throws. Maxey with a speedy drive off the screen and he scores. Dalen Terry, nice cut, Brandon Ingram. Those two look like they were sharing a brain right there, on the same page. Maxey from deep. He was out of the first quarter with foul trouble. Now he is here and we have to deal with him. Ingram, no. Klingon, yes. Hanging on the rim for emphasis. 40-37. Maxey again. Tie game at 40. Corey Kispert. Thankfully, he's been mostly missing his shots, but that doesn't account for the Joel Embiid putback. Anthony Klingon, pick and roll, jams it on Embiid. Always a treat to see Klingon battling some of the better bigs in this league. That time Embiid wins with a fadeaway. But overall though, Klingon holds his own way more than you would expect from a second-year center. We're trading buckets here. Down by 2. Klingon posting up Embiid. Drop step slam! He just overpowered one of the best defending big men of our generation. And they're still going at it. Embiid blocked by Klingon. Don't even try those little baby hooks on him. But there, that same move worked. Klingon just wasn't in position. Anthony. No! Klingon with the rebound. And he's fouled by Embiid, his second. He hits both free throws and we're tied at 48. Maxey double teamed. That's good defense. Terry staying in front of him and Williams with the timely help. Klingon scores inside. He's got 16. Now he's battling the former Bull Andre Drummond, who dishes it off to Maxey for 2. Here's Horford. Gets Andre Drummond off his feet. Now finds Terry cutting to the rim. Maxey. Embiid. Twirls for 2 off the glass. Andre Lorbeck, he's got 5, 4, and 5. Runs out of bounds there. We still haven't seen him fully unlock his offensive game, at least not on camera yet, as Maxey pours it on. Another 3. Horford scores inside as we're under a minute to go in the half. Castle steals it from Ingram. Trying to go coast to coast, fading away, no good. A chance to take the lead heading into the locker rooms. Ingram, yes! Maxey, can he take it back? Floater, short. And that's the first half. Tightly contested as most of our played games this year have been. I forgot to look at the stats at halftime, but those are coming in just a minute. Terry for 3. Good start to the second half. Embiid on the right block. Williams comes to help, and Embiid shoots right over both of them. Embiid doubled, gets it back out to Kispert for a 3. Terry backing down his man, and 1 over Embiid and Kispert. Now here are the box scores. Donovan Klingon has been great as always, 16 points, 3 blocks. He's on pace to have a similarly monster game as we saw against the Pistons. Ingram and Terry with solid halves, and Andre Lorbeck, only 5 points, but he is filling up the stat sheet. 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Hopefully we can get him going as a scorer in the second half. Meanwhile, we've had trouble with the speedy Sixers guards. LaVine scored all of his 14 points in the first quarter, and then Maxey took over for him, scoring all 17 in the second. By the way, I had to look it up. Zach LaVine's 12 three-point attempts in a quarter is an NBA record. The highest before that was Victor Oladipo and Stephen Curry, tied at 11. And I'm always keeping an eye on our three-point defense. Sixers shooting 10 of 26 from range. The computer always just shoots so many threes against me. I don't really know why that is, but at least we're having them shoot under their average. Back out to the action here. They keep giving it to Embiid, this time guarded by Ingram, and he has no chance. Anthony Williams drives past Anderson, tried for the dunk, and he's blocked. Klingon scoops it up. Back out to Williams. From the mid-range, he hits it. Here's Maxey. Drop off to Joel. Back out to Zach LaVine. Tie game once again. That's his 5th three in 14 attempts. And we're barely halfway through this game. Another 3 for Patrick Williams. Nice game so far for him. Kyle Anderson hits another. Continuing to trade threes. Maxey is dialed in. Ingram misses it. Williams chases it down. Can't finish. Embiid in the post demands so much attention. Maxey left open. Bad idea, but that's what Embiid does for an offense. Anderson no good. Lorbeck taking it down the court. And great vision. White for an easy slam. Drummond off the pick and roll lays it in. Williams pump fakes and scores off the glass. 15 for Williams as Luke Kennard makes it a 4-point game. White cuts it back down to 1. Good to see him getting in a rhythm. Scoop shot from Stephon Castle. Lorbeck now attacking Castle, wants to score. Scoops it up and in. The difficulty on that layup. Just flipped it up over the shoulder. Hit the right spot on the glass. Castle receives the lob from Kennard and lays it in softly. And it continues to be a close game. Williams pump fake on Warren. Drives to the rack. Punches it home. Andre Drummond scores down low. I miss having Drummond on this squad. Now Ingram with a tough double clutch finish. Corey Kispert. Drummond. Castle a 3. Nothing but net. He's been much better at shooting than he was in his rookie year. Making big strides. White hits another. 8 points for him. 89-88. Williams. The pump fake is lethal, but he gets everything but the finish on that. Drummond. Kispert. Kennard. Inside the three-point line, he hits it. Ingram trying to tie it here with the last shot. Step back 3. Too strong. As we head to the 4th, down by 3. Maxey collapses the defense. Castle makes it splash. You can't leave anyone open on these Sixers team as Lorbeck takes it all the way for his 9th point. Still down by 6. Lorbeck, another acrobatic finish. LaVine, over the head pass to Maxey in the corner. And they continue to make it rain. Terry with another finish through contact. He's become a really good finisher. Maxey rises up and slams it on McDaniels. What he lacks in height, he gains back in explosiveness. McDaniels with the tip in. 102-96. Maxey draws a foul. And it's an 8-point game. Williams on the left side all by himself. Guarded by Maxey. Drop off to Klingon and he scores. 18-10 for the big man. A missed 3 from Stephon Castle. Now Anderson gives it to Castle for another try, and this time he hits it. Ingram, backdoor, hanging on the rim. Nice delivery there from Cole Anthony. Embiid backing down Klingon. Hook shot. Too strong. Rebound Anthony. Klingon in the post now. Scores easily over Kyle Anderson. Embiid and Klingon battling, and Klingon loses that round. Embiid with a nice spin move. Ingram running out of stamina, chucks it up. Great defense there from Philly. Castle draws the Klingon foul. He can't believe it. And the Sixers are in the bonus. Ingram reaches in, and that leads to free throws for Zach LaVine. This game's getting away from us. We're down by 9. Williams. Good move, but again, everything but the finish. And we're getting a little impatient on defense, continuing to reach in and giving them easy points. Great defense there. Lorbeck to Williams up court. And he's stonewalled by LaVine. Klingon trailing and earning 2 free throws. Back down to 9. Lorbeck guarded by Maxey. Here's Terry with the drive. Another and one. He's got 19. And with the free throw, he has 20. Fantastic game from Terry. Kispert sinks it from range. We needed a stop there. And we just died on that off-ball screen, leaving Kispert wide open. Klingon scores. Klingon forces a miss from Embiid, and Embiid follows it up. Under 90 seconds to go. Williams, gotta have it. No. Under a minute to go. Ingram, desperation, 3 is good. We need a miracle, but it's not out of the question. Full court pressure, Maxey, double teamed, Embiid, 3, dagger! And that is the game. Lorbeck misses, Terry, no good from 3. And the Bulls will drop to 3-8 on the year. LaVine with the exclamation point to make it a double-digit loss at home. The Sixers were just flat out the better team, and that showed down the stretch. It really wasn't a bad offensive game at all. We had 5 guys in double digits. Klingon was fantastic. Lorbeck almost had a triple-double in his first start, but it was yet again the defense who just fell apart. The combination of the athletic guards who could all shoot the lights out, and then the powerful presence of Embiid was just too much to handle. We gave up 10 threes in the first half and another 11 in the second. They end up shooting 21 for 47. And with that game in the books, it's now time to preview the upcoming college basketball season. There will be a new batch of exciting, detailed draft prospects thanks to Jeff Rule and the guys at Operation Sports. Thank you again for making this amazing project. But today we'll be looking at some of the bigger names in college basketball and the preseason predictions. The title defense officially begins for the Miami Hurricanes in November with no shortage of suitors capable of dethroning the Canes. That pursuit begins in the Champions Classic at Chase Center in San Francisco as Miami faces Kentucky in a rematch of the title game, followed by UNC against USC. The season culminates in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium on April 5th. Will the Canes capture a repeat? Can Kentucky rebound from the title game collapse? Will USC avoid a Cinderella upset? Or is D.D. McDice capable of leading Illinois? These are among the pressing questions ESPN's team will be answering in the build-up to what will certainly be a season to remember. We'll start with the vast list of returning players and teams that are building off of a deep run or tough disappointments. Let's begin in Kansas as sophomore guard Jaden Bibbs fills in for the departed DJ Outlaw, who guided the Jayhawks to a Big 12 crown before bowing out to the eventual champion Hurricanes. Bibbs will share the court with big man Riley Singler, but is expected to be the engine behind the Jayhawks' attack. Kentucky is no slouch, adding a pair of highly touted freshmen in guard Derek Hardaway and wing Dorian Knight. Both are considered early favorites to go in the top 10, and both fit the mold for the typical blue-chip, one-and-done Kentucky prospect. The Utah Utes made a surprising run to the Sweet 16, which helped them land one of the top bigs in the country in Trey Orton. Orton is considered a late first-round pick, but is part of the reason the Utes have a fighting chance in a suddenly empty Pac-12 with the departure of both USC and UCLA. Speaking of those two teams, The Battle of Los Angeles is not reserved for just the NBA. The Trojans, after sending Javon Boston to the NBA, bring in one of the nation's best recruiting classes in wing Marquise Hightower, guard George Hoffman, and guard Dion Ivey. Hightower is the best among the three, but that trio, along with returning sophomore big Devontae Zimmerman, create arguably the deepest starting five in the country. UCLA is not to be left in the dust. Forward Luis Kuzma joins the Bruins as the best recruit to don the Powder Blues since Lonzo Ball. Kuzma has elite upside and is projected to be no worse than a top 3 pick in June. Repeating will be easier said than done for Miami, who lose Damian Pack to the NBA, but replace him with sophomore big man Darius Murray as the leading man of their pecking order. And how about the Midwest? The Iowa Hawkeyes return guard Ira Mack, now a senior, on a veteran roster that made their way to the Sweet 16. Mack was considered a late first-round talent a year ago, but will return with the opportunity to rise up draft boards. Their in-state rival Iowa State lost Gianni Giddens to the NBA, but freshman guard Zariah Demps is turning heads for the Cyclones, who lost in the Big 12 title game a year ago before being upset by Delaware in the national tournament. He'll be flanked by sophomore guard Barry Stokes in a young backcourt. The Tar Heels, having suffered a Final Four defeat to Damian Pack and the Canes, bring back Artavis Carney, the leader of their offense a year ago. He'll have a new partner in the pick and roll with the addition of big man Sol-J Crabbe, the number 1 big in the incoming class. The Buckeyes suffered one of the biggest losses with the departure of Cavante Kennard, but replace him with a trio of talented pieces in freshman guard Jared Edwards, junior guard Cameron Pressey, and senior wing Kasib Toole as they look to reclaim a now extremely deep Big Ten. One of the 2 shocking Cinderellas from a year ago, Davidson, brings back Donnie Trice, who captured the nation's attention with his lightning scoring. Speaking of Cinderellas, Creighton looks to build off an impressive Big East title led by Reese Freeman, a flawed but animated senior forward. Now let's focus on some of the newcomers to the title picture. Illinois enters with the nation's best recruit and one of the best young guards to play in college basketball, with D.D. McDyess. While McDyess doesn't have another player who is on preseason draft boards to partner with, scouts consider his talent good enough to carry the Illini into a title game all by himself. Wisconsin should figure into the complicated Big Ten as well, led by big man Simon Beneman, a sophomore who is considered by many to be primed for a jolt up draft boards with continued good play. Gonzaga returns after a brief 1-year hiatus from the top of the mountaintop, with the addition of guard Dele Bagley, a top 15 recruit and one of the better guards in college basketball. Missouri has a chance to disrupt the SEC with the addition of freshman wing Jermaine Rhodes, a quick-twitch athlete who scouts believe could be a top 5 pick in the NBA, and the return of guard Jalen Lockett. To cap things off, with all things considered, it looks like USC is the favorite to win it all. 4 ESPN experts picked them as their champion, more than any other school, and Kentucky looks to be the second biggest favorite with 3 picks. But similarly to Zion Williamson in 2019, all eyes will be on D.D. McDyess, the best player in college and a potentially generational NBA prospect. Kevin Nagandi believes he and the Fighting Illini will be champions. That concludes our first look at the college season. Now back to the Bulls season, where we're back to losing by a lot of points. The Grizzlies destroy us yet again, and our 3-point defense continues to be a pressing issue. 22 of 38 is ridiculous, and it's not a fluke either. This keeps happening. And we lose again to the Clippers, and it wasn't even close. I genuinely feel like we are way more talented than these Clippers, but yet again, we get bombed from 3-point range, 19 of 46. And look at this! Just over a dozen games into the season, the Kings, after trading for Ayo Dosunmu in the offseason, are already fed up with his lack of production, sending him to Brooklyn. I'm glad we got out of that mess while we still could. I mean, I'm still rooting for Ayo, but it's not looking good for him this season. He looked so promising in year 1, and I don't know what happened to him. I think this is a bad trade for the Kings. I don't think Trendon Watford and Aaron Holiday are worth IO and a first-round pick, but sometimes I just like to let the chaos happen. And it's no surprise that we lose to the Cavaliers once again, but it's so disappointing to see us giving up these gigantic point totals every single game. I thought our defense was really solid last year, but all that has changed after we signed Brandon Ingram and then drafted some rookies that struggle on defense. We are now historically bad on that end, allowing 23s on a nightly basis. Okay, historically bad might be a bit of a stretch, because somehow the Raptors are allowing even more points than us. I mean, at least they're scoring 117 points per game, which is way better than us, but it has resulted in the same 3-11 record. But we do have the highest opponent three-point percentage in basketball. Surprisingly, we're not that much worse than other teams, though. I mean, I think the league as a whole is just shooting the lights out to begin this season. So many teams allowing 40+% from three. Speaking of three-point shooting, Cole Herringody had the best game of his young career, hitting 7 threes. But unfortunately, none of the other Woodsmen stepped up in the first meeting between the Woodsmen and the Owls. Right now, Montreal looks like by far the better expansion team. But it still looks like both squads hit on their inaugural draft picks with Cole Herringody and Baron Hunter. And it's another awful defensive showing against Detroit. No Cade Cunningham, no problem for them. And not only did we allow them to shoot 46% from range, but we allowed 60 points in the paint to our 22. We also got out-rebounded by 17. About a month into the season, we're 3-12, and we now take on the New York Knicks, who sit at 9-8. And make no mistake, we should win this game. The Knicks are missing both Jalen Brunson and Jordan Poole. We've only had one single simulated win so far, but oh yeah, that's what I like to see. 45-17 in the first quarter, and we cruise to the victory. Andrej Lorbeck's been up and down so far, but this was a gem. 26 points, and 3 of 4 from three-point range. Let's see if we can do it again against the Suns, who are 8-9. That's better than they've been in the past, but with the talent they have, they should be way better. And the Bulls get it done. Everyone except Jet Howard scored 11 points or more in this one. Well, we've got another pair of back-to-back victories, which gives me a little bit of hope that we can turn this season around. You might be asking, hey Sliding Catch, why are you worried about winning games so much? You're a young, rebuilding team. Why don't you just tank for a draft pick? And to that I say, great point. I would agree with you if we had our draft pick this season. We do not own that pick. We owe it to San Antonio, and instead we are relying on the Magic to give us a good pick. Unfortunately, multi-year pick protections are not a thing in 2K, which is another complaint I have. But basically, we owe a pick to San Antonio as a result of the DeMar DeRozan trade, which is protected in like the top 5, top 10, I don't remember. In real life, that pick is going to continue to come back to us if we continue to finish in the protected range until a certain year, like 2028, 2029, whatever. And since we were bad last year, we kept our protected pick and we used it to draft Andrej Lorbeck. But basically the way it works in real life is if the pick doesn't convey one year, the same conditions will apply the next year and so on. So technically we should still owe that pick to San Antonio, but also still have the right to keep it if it's high enough. But in 2K, protections disappear after they're used one time. There's no such thing as a multi-year pick protection. So since we used that protection in 2025, that means we owe a unconditional first-round pick to the San Antonio Spurs the next season. I did initially consider manually moving the pick back to us if it ends up being a top pick, which it certainly looks like it's going to be given the start to our season. But I ultimately decided that all the other teams in the league have to deal with this same thing, and I'm just going to let 2K work how it works. I'm going to abide by the rules of the game. So we do not have our first round pick next year, which means there's no incentive to tank. So I was really hoping we would be better, especially after signing a star player, but that hasn't happened. And that leads us into our second game of the episode, and that is Brandon Ingram's return to New Orleans. will also be facing off against Gary Trent Jr. for the first time, after we traded the Pelicans, him and Dorian Finney-Smith, in order to dump some salary to sign Brandon Ingram in free agency. Ahead of this one, I've also made the call to recall Mace Gadzarich from the G League. I want to be continuously giving him chances to improve his stats and find some rhythm. But unfortunately, it looks like he's fresh off of a G League game and he's very tired, so he won't be in the rotation today, instead replaced by Mark Mitchell. The Pelicans are 11-8 on the season as they eye a playoff spot, which they haven't been able to get in the last 2 seasons. They've given up on the B.I. and Zion pairing, deciding to build around Zion exclusively. Hopefully the shakeup can be a win-win for both sides. Ingram scores the first bucket, lowering his shoulder into Aaron Bradshaw. C.J. McCollum off the screen, no good, and Bradshaw tried to windmill it home for the putback, but Klingon stopped him in his tracks. Bradshaw hits 1 free throw. Ingram, Klingon, pick and roll, and 1. Foul on Herb Jones. McCollum lofts it up for Zion, and they have their first field goal. Ingram, guarded by Williamson, the former teammates. Ingram hits the shot over him. McCollum feeds Bradshaw inside. 2 young centers from the same draft, Klingon and Bradshaw. Williams holds his own against Williamson, but he gets his own rebound and puts it back in. Second foul on Klingon early in this one. More good defense from J-Mac, but Williamson too big. Herb Jones blocked by Ingram in the corner. Williamson chases it down. Herb with another try, and no good, as Williamson goes crumpling to the floor. McDaniels scores on the other end, and Zion is still on the floor. We seem to be making a habit of injuring the best player on the opposing team. We'll see the injury report on Zion in just a moment as Dorian Finney-Smith checks in. Patrick Williams with a nice block. Now McDaniels guarding DFS. Trent Jr. off a screen, 2 open there. And he and McCollum are probably going to be the 2 biggest threats unless Zion makes a return to this game. And 1 from Patrick Williams. Ties it back up at 13. Gary Trent Jr. finds Herb Jones in the corner. Hasn't been a great shooting season for him, but he can make the open shot. Gary Trent scores with little resistance at the rim as we call timeout to talk things over. Cole Anthony, hounded by Herb Jones, drops it off to Terry, who gets his own miss and puts it back in. Anthony with a dime to Kobe White, and off a backdoor cut. Dyson Daniels feeds Gary Trent on the right side, and he gives it inside to Aaron Bradshaw. Kobe White knocks down a 3 off the catch. Gary Trent hits another. His spot-up shooting might be a better fit for the Pelicans than Brandon Ingram was, especially if they're going to run their offense through Zion, which it doesn't look like they'll be able to do today, as that injury looked pretty serious. Gary Trent on target once again. And we're down by 6. Anthony fouled by Jones. They call that a shooting foul. He hits the first, the second, and they give him a 3rd free throw. Never seen this happen before. I guess Anthony was locked into the hop, step, jumper animation, whatever that's called, and the reach-in foul happened while he was hopping to the left. So the game thought that was during the shooting motion, and since the hop started from behind the 3-point line, they gave him 3 shots. I mean, we'll take it. Jaden McDaniels scored up close, and Aaron Bradshaw, unfazed by the defense, scores again. White with a push shot off the glass and in. 30-28 as we retake the lead. Aaron Bradshaw again. He's going to be forced to play big minutes as he's their main interior presence without Zion. As Jet Howard scores to make it a 32-32 ball game heading into the second quarter. We get the steal, and Howard, ahead of the pack, dunks it down in transition. Missed step back J from Ingram. It's been a quiet start for him. Gary Trent fakes out Lorbeck and hits the three. Playing with an extra pep in his step against his former team. Dorian Finney-Smith is getting some minutes here with the New Orleans Pelicans after we banished him to a DNP role. Ingram with the layup. Now Bradshaw jams it in, and the foul. Bradshaw playing with high motor tonight. Lorbeck to Ingram. Hits the catch-and-shoot three. A baseline out-of-bounds play now. Lorbeck sneaks to the rim and scores easily for his first bucket. Gary Harris hits a tough left-handed shot. Now Chicago pushing it in transition. Mitchell gets his own miss and rises up for the standing dunk. His leaping ability really reminds me of Brandon Clark, who we lost in the expansion draft. That was way too easy for McCollum. Now Ingram backing down, GTJ hitting it with the left hand. Now Trent, nice move, splitting the defense for two. White, step back, mid-range jumper. 9 points for him early on. Williams erases the shot from Jordan Hawkins. But Hawkins comes back and scores it anyway. Cole Anthony, nice behind the back dribble, collapsing the defense for Brandon Ingram. He's got 14. Jordan Hawkins delivers to Bradshaw. Bradshaw's played this entire game and he's got 15 points. Ingram scores before the defense can get set. 56-52. Hawkins, no, and is put back in by Bradshaw. Herb Jones doing what he does best, and that's lock up on defense. And he gets the assist there to Jordan Hawkins. Former college teammate of Donovan Clingan. Gary Harris knocks it down. And it's now a double-digit ball game. Ingram gets free off the backdoor cut. Cole Anthony makes it 7. Final minute of the opening half. Hawkins off the screen, bullseye. One of the best shooters in that 2023 draft. Williams got in the way of the pass to scramble for the ball, and the Pelicans come up with it. Jordan Hawkins with another three. White, no good, and it's a 13-point deficit after 24. And we're still having trouble containing the Pelicans' offense, even without Zion Williamson. Speaking of Zion, he will not be coming back today and not for the next 2 to 4 weeks. A collapsed lung. Kind of a shame we don't get to see Zion and B.I. duke it out. I promise you, that pun was completely not intended, but very much appreciated. But Brandon Ingram has led our attack with 18 points, shooting 8 of 14 from the field. And once again, it's not the offense that's the problem, it's the defense. Gary Trent Jr. has been dog-walking us from the perimeter, while Aaron Bradshaw has been overpowering us inside. Elsewhere in the league, the Bucks and Spurs matched up for the first time since the finals, and what do you know? The Spurs are still dangerous as they take the win here over Milwaukee. I'm sensing a Spurs championship or two throughout this sim. But here we go in half number 2. Williams working the left side, driving baseline on Harris, and getting the and one. Hoping to cut it back down to single digits quickly as Clingan rejects Gary Trent. Anthony behind the back move, and he puts it in. CJ McCollum left 2 wide open, and that's another 3-pointer. Williams. Lorbeck left open. He will try the 3, you bet. Only his second made field goal, and that's the 3rd. Anthony puts it on a silver platter, leading to the easy dunk. Herb Jones with a 3, and it's back up to 9. Ingram and 1. Tough shot. Give him 21 points. Anthony speeds past everyone for the lay. Trent Jr. finds Gary Harris, who's on a cold streak. Doesn't matter, he hits the 3. Patrick Williams will try and hit. And it's a close game once again. CJ McCollum, floater over the entire defense. Pretty stuff there. Lorbeck, well defended by Bradshaw. Clingan gets it back, and he cannot finish. Bradshaw again with stifling defense. What a game for him as Harris pours it on. Cole Anthony running the pick and roll. Pump fake and drop off to Klingon. 84-77. Bradshaw blocked by Klingon. Klingon's been losing the battle so far. A pretty quiet day for him. But hopefully gets some momentum there as Gary Trent continues to make it rain. Dalen Terry hits the wide open shot. Trent lets another one fly. Good again! What are we doing leaving him open so much? Andrej Lorbeck with the slam. Now he has the ball again. Pulls it up, and Patrick Williams with the follow. Love seeing the aggressiveness from P. Will. Jordan Hawkins pump fakes. Tries a three. Money! We can't defend the three for the life of us. Lorbeck rejected! And he falls to the ground. Aaron Bradshaw is a menace. Herb Jones is too. He gets the block, and that leads to the shot clock violation. We finally get a good contest on Trent, and he misses. Patrick Williams in transition. McDaniels fouled. Bradshaw over everyone, powering his way to the rim. He still has not sat on the bench for a single minute tonight. As Dalen Terry scores inside, Jordan Hawkins left open again. Rebound Dyson Daniels and scores. Backbreaking. Lorbeck throws it right to Herb Jones. Interception and misses the floater, gets it back. Out to Hawkins, open three, good. We look rattled right now. The inexperience is showing. Lorbeck gets to the rim and gets the and one. That was a veteran-looking move right there. Bad lob pass. Couldn't find its way into Bradshaw's hands. Bulls the other way. McDaniels, quick trigger for three. And we're still in this thing. Minute to go in the third. Bradshaw, Gatorade symbol. And he's still playing hard. Gets 2 free throws there to make it an 8-point game. White, nice drop-off pass to McDaniels for an easy 2. Now Kobe tries a 3 off the rim. Trent to Bradshaw, jump shot, good, with a second to go. Now a minute and a half into the fourth quarter, we haven't scored in almost 2.5 minutes. Terry, left-handed layup, good. Breaks the drought. And Donovan Klingon makes a miscue, a 5-second violation. They changed the rule to allow 5 seconds instead of 3, but still not enough time for Klingon to get out of the paint. Another jumper for Aaron Bradshaw. He's been fantastic. McDaniels, smothered by Harris, misses, but put back in by Dalen Terry. Now Terry will launch from range and hit again. 14 points for him. Anthony, Klingon, pick and roll slam. And it's back to one possession. Klingon! Oh my goodness! He incinerated that shot. He started his contest from the painted area and just absolutely teleported out there, sending it all the way to half court and past the courtside stands. Another dunk for Bradshaw. Now Anthony swerving to the rim and laying it in. The deficit stays at 3, and we force the miss from Gary Harris. Ingram for the tie. No. Rebound, Bradshaw. Williams. Fouled. Makes both free throws. 1-point game. McCollum connects on the turnaround jumper. Timeout, Chicago. Ingram trying to play one-on-one on Bradshaw. That does not work. Bradshaw is having the game of his life. Ingram with a fadeaway now. That misses too. Gary Trent. Left side. Out to Jones. 3 ball is good. Back up to 6. Under 4 to go. Ingram. Crafty pass and Klingon finishes. Trent. Denied by Williams. Klingon tries to save it, but can't bat it back in bounds. Trent, stuffed by Williams, and a shot clock violation. That was one of the better defensive possessions we've had all game. Anthony, in and out on the three. We're on the verge of a comeback, but can we close the gap? Jones fouled, hits the jumper! He's the worst offensive player in the starting lineup, and he's still hitting contested jumpers. Now he steps into a three and knocks it down. 10-point ball game before you can blink. Gary Trent misses, rebound Klingon. We need a bucket and fast. Anthony feeds Ingram, he lets it fly, bottoms. Back down to 5. Bradshaw, no good on the jumper. Williams goes all the way. 18 points for him, and it's now a 3-point game. Mistimed lob. Bradshaw couldn't catch it. Klingon, only Trent Jr. to beat. Puts it in. 1-point game with a minute to go. It's going down to the wire in New Orleans. McCollum, guarded by Anthony. Trent coming around a screen. McCollum will use a screen from Bradshaw. Out to Trent. Bullseye! Gary Trent Jr. with ice in his veins. Unfortunately, for the wrong team. Anthony throws it away. Bradshaw got in the way. Daniels fouled. Dalen Terry sends him to the line, where he makes it a 5-point game. He missed the first free throw. Anthony to Klingon. Tried to dunk it down. He's fouled. Should have been an and one. That turnover from Anthony on the last possession, though, was really costly. Klingon hits both. Back to one possession. McCollum tries a three. No! Tap back in! Bradshaw! Nobody boxed him out! And Bradshaw delivers what might be the finishing blow. We need a miracle now. And the pass is deflected! Herb Jones ends it for New Orleans. They almost let us come back, but they made the plays when it counted. 129 points, as it's another poor defensive showing for Chicago. 122 isn't enough to win. After Zion went down 5 minutes into the game, it was almost like Bradshaw became Zion in disguise. He played the entire game, scoring 29 points, hauling in 18 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Undoubtedly the best game of his career. And Gary Trent hangs 30 points on our heads. He and Brandon Ingram were both looking to have revenge games today, and Gary Trent is the one who ends up getting it. Brandon Ingram finished with solid stats, but really was non-existent in that fourth quarter. It still would have been enough to win if our defense was even decent. But once again, just like against Philly, a solid offensive performance is wasted by some atrocious defense. In every game, it's the same story. The Pelicans hit 20 3-pointers, while we only hit 11. That was the difference. We lost by 9. I think at this point you have to look at making some real defensive schematic adjustments in order to fix this mess. But that's going to bring our episode to an end as we go 2-6. Both of our played games were very disappointing showings, but we did get those 2 convincing victories over the Knicks and the Suns back to back. I wish I could say that at least we could look forward to a high draft pick with this horrid start to the season, but unfortunately that's not the case. So my goal for this season is to see this team better than they were when they started, especially the rookies. I just want to see them develop over the course of the season. But anyway, we've been moving through the simulation pretty slowly through the first couple episodes of the season. I plan on changing that next episode and simulating a little bit longer. We do play on Christmas against the Miami Heat. I might jump into that game, and I might even simulate even further past that. But as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate all the support you guys give me. If you like what you see, please like, subscribe. If you haven't done already, recommend me to a friend. I would really appreciate that. I'll see you guys in the next one as we hit the 30 episode mark in this Bulls franchise. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.